For me, it's like, yeah, such a different music and with such a great musicians from Germany as well. And for we guys also, the experience is amazing.
I feel so inspired here. It's a foreign country and a foreign culture, and the music is unfamiliar. But it's still inspiring and fun to delve into.
It's so different. My whole musical world has been turned upside down.
Here in Mumbai, young musicians from India and Germany have come together for a very special occasion. They're preparing for a joint concert at the Beethoven Festival in Bonn.
I think it feels great to have an exchange with the German musicians, German percussionists.
Austrian composer Bernhard Schimpelsberger is running a workshop in Mumbai. 5 young German musicians are here to get a feel for Indian music. Soon they'll present what they learned at a special concert in Bonn.
Oh, now I get it. I didn't count the comma.
Key elements of Indian music include rhythmic clapping and the vocal percussion art known as konakol. It's a challenge to learn.
It's a large-scale project. We're trying to bring these cultures together in a concert format. Of course, the workshop is part of the project, but what comes out of it should be more than just a workshop presentation.
Mumbai, previously known as Bombay, is a metropolis of 20 million people on India's western coast. A city full of contrasts. It's loud and demanding, a financial hub, and the epicenter of the Bollywood industry.
There's a lot of rhythm here. At first it seems just like white noise, but it's so exciting, this whole soundscape with the traffic, the people, the language. It's all so interesting.
The German guests spend their second day touring the city and exploring this mysterious, unfamiliar world.
I'm so impressed by the diversity, the different architectural styles, the different smells. There's something new at each turn. You don't know where to look first or where you're allowed to. It's quite overwhelming, but in a positive way.
Rich and poor side by side. Rundown neighborhoods next to luxurious high-rises. A visit to a Hindu temple. It's their first encounter with India's religious music. As evening falls, they unwind with some fresh coconut milk. They're excited to meet their Indian counterparts and a master tabla musician and teacher.
I think the exchange with Suresh and his students will be an exciting and completely new experience. That's what I'm looking forward to the most. That and the cultural exchange. We'll teach them something, they'll teach us something. I expect it to be very inspiring.
The next day, the Indian percussion ensemble arrives. 3 tabla players and 2 dancers. In India, dancers are considered musicians. Their instruments are their feet, which they use to produce complex rhythms. It's known as Kathak. They wear up to 150 bells on each ankle. The Indian tabla drums are like small kettle drums covered with goat skin. They produce a haunting sound. The Indian musicians are well versed in the complex clapping and spoken konakol rhythms. And the Germans? They seem to be picking it up quite well. These are traditional Indian songs that Bernhard Schimpelsberger has arranged for tabla, Kathak dancing and Western percussion instruments. Indian music involves a lot of improvisation. It doesn't really have written notation. Melodies and rhythms are passed on from teachers to their students. It's a rich tradition.
In India, a tabla concert is like... And the audience has their hands in the air because they're celebrating the music. In Spanish, you have ole. In India, it's kiawate or wawa. You can really tell this is the music of the people.
Alongside the tablas and the Kathak dancers, there's a drum set, a marimba, and a set of chimes. Percussion brings them all together. Their ambitious aim is to create a productive dialogue between traditional Indian and European music. Not such a mission impossible, after all. Both sides are curious about each other's music and instruments.
Glockenspiel. Yeah. And how do you hold 4 of them in 2 hands?
Yes, different techniques, but like, okay, you just hold one, and then you put the second one, like turn your hand like this, and you put the second one between your index finger and your middle finger, and you put it under the other one. Yeah, and then you turn it around, and now you can play 2 notes at the same time.
After the workshop, they all enjoy a well-earned meal. Music brought them together, but they'll leave with so many more impressions. Tomorrow, they're expecting a very special visit from the guru Bernhard first met when he was 16. He then went on to study with him for 3 years.
I met him and he had this radiance about him. It was the first time I'd met a real master. Someone who doesn't just know how things should be, but who also embodied it. And the central tradition behind it. He always said, if you learn the Indian system, then you will be able to do this and do this and this and this. It was like going through a big gate with the promise that there's a whole world waiting behind it that would enrich you.
He's here, 70-year-old Suresh Talwalkar, the master, the guru. He'll join Bernhard in leading the workshop. His message, rhythm, clapping and the percussion language konakol all belong together. The pace is picking up. The guru is a demanding teacher. The Indian musicians still have an advantage, but the Germans are catching up. Aside from learning new rhythms, they're also learning the philosophy behind this music.
When we start to play music, we forget everything. Because music ultimately comes from your heart. There is a science, there is a knowledge also, there is a technique also. But real art is like it comes through your heart. This 666, okay? Then 1 1 1 1 1 1 means 5. No. 1 1 1 1. Taga.
Shall we change? Shall we have on the first note the high? I think it will be good.
That music you decide.
One.
Karmarkar is like a spoken language, and it's quickly becoming the musicians' shared way of communicating. Can Europeans really become immersed in these complex Indian systems of sound and rhythm? It's a question Suresh Talwalkar has been asking for years.
I was like a big experiment. Could I, a Western musician who plays drums but not tabla, learn this system? And then bring my own musical traditions to the instrument.
Suresh
is really a pioneer of Indian music. Musicians call him Ocean of Rhythm. In a way, he's very traditional. He does traditional teaching. He believes in the Guru Shishya system of teachers and disciples that's been in India for millennia.
The teacher and his disciple, now a teacher himself. The perfect bridge between two cultures.
Teachers gives more information, but Guru gives knowledge. You know, knowledge is something different.
It's a crash course for the German percussionists. A lot of new information and background in a short space of time. But just one day with Suresh has had a big impact on their playing. The German percussionists have come to this musical instrument shop to learn about the tabla, the famous Indian drum with a remarkable sound range.
You see that? That's thin. So that's like a high-pitched tabla.
This typical circular black eye on top is known as a shai. It's made from a dried hardened paste and it determines the tone and pitch of the tabla. The tension has to be adjusted precisely, using the wooden sections between the body and the straps. It's day 4 of the workshop, and just the second day with the Guru, but he's already won everyone over.
Next.
Although there aren't any written notes, numbers and letters can help people learn. There's plenty of space to improvise, within certain strict rules. A guest has come to visit, virtuoso flute player Rakesh Chaurasia. He and Bernhard are composing a piece commissioned by Deutsche Welle that these musicians will perform for the first time at the Beethoven Festival in Bonn.
Well, for me, it's really adventure because I've not done this before. Means in this full-fledged thing, working with 35 or 40 pieces of orchestra. So it's a big thing for me, and I'm open to do any kind of experiment in music because music needs to be expanded day by day.
They have to learn fast, and they're all giving their best. On the last day of the workshop in India, everything has to run smoothly. The next time they meet will be in Bonn in a few months, shortly before the concert.
The guru definitely has a very rapid teaching pace. It's really hard for us to keep up sometimes. But it's a lot of fun, and we've been learning so much.
And in the end, the Indian musicians have learnt a lot too.
This is the usual thing. We do these rhythmic patterns daily. So these are not new, but I think the blend between their culture and our culture, to blend it, it's a little difficult offbeat, maybe.
Difficult? I don't think there was anything difficult. It was a smooth journey, and I really had a great experience, and I'm going to cherish these 3 days at the NCPA for a long time.
The next day, it's farewell to Mumbai. 5 months later, on a late summer's day by the River Rhine, the Indian musicians arrived in Bonn a few days ago. In addition to their daily rehearsals, they want to experience the country. Everyone has stayed in touch since the workshop in Mumbai.
I think it's a very healthy mix. We're like a family, and we share this love of music regardless of which continent we're from. I think when musicians meet, friendships blossom straight away. It's easy to get along.
They've been rehearsing for 5 days. Bernhard and Rakesh have named their piece commissioned for the Beethoven Festival, KISMET.
KISMET is a beautiful composition. We have I would say the highlight of KISMET, that is the flute maestro Rakesh Chaurasia, and it kind of revolves around him.
The piece is great. It's so intriguing the way these two worlds melt together so perfectly.
KISMET has been a very special piece to all of us, and it's the first time that we're performing at the Beethoven Festival. So curious, excited, and looking forward.
The final rehearsal before their debut performance. There are several other pieces written in Mumbai that will be on the programme tonight as well. As always, there are some last-minute changes.
Everything goes 1 octave higher from 46 on. 1 octave higher.
Now they're also being accompanied by a symphony orchestra. The German Youth Orchestra has been rehearsing KISMET with the percussionists and Rakesh Chaurasia, master of the Bansuri flute, for a week.
Now he will see it as well.
In the meantime, Bernhard and the rhythm section perfect the score and the sound.
You guys have been doing a great job. We spent the first 3 days tuning the orchestra. Now I have to tune the composition a little. Because of the space and the string section, we're a bit overstaffed. I don't think you can play any quieter. It doesn't make sense for you to play piano when everyone else is playing forte. We just need to thin you out a bit.
Once again, Karmarkar becomes the common language to time each instrument.
Die ersten beiden Viertel sind bam, ba, bam. Also punktierte 8, einfach eine Sechzehntel dann bist du genau mit der Bassdrum zusammen.
Also auf die 1 und auf die 1 und D. Auf die
Boom, boom, boom.
Ja.
It's a premiere in every sense of the word. There's never been a Bansuri, an Indian bamboo flute, in a symphony orchestra before. Innovation and experimentation. The two composers are in good company.
To me, it was clear from the start, what would Beethoven do? Maybe not Indian music, but he would certainly try something new. He would do something no one's ever done before, something that interests him. He would try to push the boundaries.
If he would have been here, he would have loved it. But hopefully, the Indian music and the Western classical has a very well blend to each other. So that, I think that's an innovation in a music, because I think it's not happened before, a classical genre adding up into symphony orchestra.
KISMET's evening premiere in the Bonn Congress Centre. Will the young musicians be up to the challenge after just 1 week of rehearsals? KISMET means fate, and fate is the motto of the 2018 Beethoven Festival. It's a huge success for musicians and composers alike. The thunderous applause was well deserved. The young musicians have put on a dazzling show with dedication and enthusiasm.
I feel as if our ship has launched into the big wide world. We've been working on it for a year now, planning it meticulously. Now we can relax and let go. And I feel good about it.
Well, for a musician, once it's been appreciated by the audience, that's the biggest award what we can achieve in life. So, and with the applause and with the appreciation, I understood that they liked the music very much, and that's really like dream coming true.
We feel very blessed, and we had a great opportunity at this age to perform here. So that was very good.
It was a great success and we had so much fun. I felt enraptured on stage. It was wonderful.
The evening also marks an impending farewell. There's one concert left in Berlin before they all go their own ways. They leave enriched by an entirely new experience and with new friends across the globe.